So, Esoteric Chapter 2, or the Arcane Journey Through Nicheville. She was the first to say they're all dead. Several others followed in suit in the same perspective, effectively stating things like the world that they came from was destroyed by nukes. Interesting consignment, frankly. In their world, you see a gray car, it means gray, literally a gray. See, my world, I follow the red lights home. In this case, though, those are the ones I'm taking. This was the birth of the red light district. So when I had an outsider tell me everyone was dead, when effectively a death gate was opened on the whole planet around 2011, midsummer. I find that interesting. The shadow shows the flicker of the light, but you can't see the flicker of the light other than that. And if you see those bars of refresh going across the static, well, I'll tell you what, while I was in the middle of part 1 of this little adventure, the recorder stopped on its own. I've had similar things occur when I've tried to document this. See, even this light, as you can see these wave bands, you see how they're on the other side of my finger? Do you see how I can touch them and change them? Now you can see the flicker of the light. This is the weird things I have been attempting to document. It's taken a bit of skill to learn how to watch yet not observe. Because as of currently, scientifically speaking on this, you can shout pseudoscience all you like, but isolation of variables here, let's get real, people. Just because the only information databases relate to the arcane, esoteric, and occult, sometimes metaphysical, does not mean that that's the end of the subject matter. It just happens to be the only terminologies or lexicons available to express, at least in English, these bizarre phenomena, such as this static and those lines in the static. Yes, that fluctuating rainbow. I'll tell you, it is somewhat interesting and an honor to present you using my phone's camera as a remote focus point. That's right, I'm remote viewing through my camera. So you see what I see. I'm not looking through my camera. You see what I see. What is causing the seizures. A wave band of light in between the pillars. Dog, you're like 5-10 minutes late on that. Anyway, I don't tend to use main corridors often, and that is effectively what we're walking through. So, you know how the camera has been having issues. Not if I remote project through the Android. That is what I'm doing currently to allow you to see all of this. You see those bands and flashes and dogs that are delayed. That dog was sitting right there and didn't realize I was there until I pointed the camera at it. Which I'll express in a more direct scientific means later. In the meantime, as you can see, this entire area is radiating with static accord. There's a projection layer here, is what that means. It means not all of these houses are necessarily tangible. For instance, the house that used to be here vanished overnight. Now, I should have been recording, but all I have now is an empty spot. No debris picked up, nothing. Although, we can walk in a straight line from the center of 5 points, and we can look at every stage of that house. Now, on this little esoteric adventure, there's obviously a psychic girl or a little psychic group. I'll explain why the white cars are something, because the natives actually used to say that effectively, when it shows up like that, is white devil. That's what the Iroquois Nation shamans, even in the living abstract, it might show up as a crazy white squirrel or something else, but these days vehicles can be used for conciliation. It's abstract. It's abstract. Which also takes a lot of training so that you don't get yourself confused. You get a day when you've got nothing but white cars on the road. Some people call that being in the cloud that I've spoken to. That's why I need to start getting more people on the documentary going. Like this place here. Some of these branches have literally grown through overnight. It's not too strange, speaking that the energy is fluctuating as much as it does out here. Which means there's a wave band projecting into this area. Interesting stuff, no? But anyway, my fingers on one hand are getting frozen. But if I had a life frequency scanner, it's basically a spectrometer that can read the ambient light from DNA, then we could really see we're dealing with haunted Toledo. I'm not sure the percentage of it's broken on the opposite side is the one that I tore apart with my bare hands. Interesting TV that lands in the alley. But we are dealing with haunted Toledo, if not haunted America. They fucked up, is what happened. Hardcore. see, a little bit of science here. When you spin up a magnetic vortex, machine without a central organic processor, in other words, a natural field, like the magnet, if you're inducing power into the field from an external source and trying to amplify it, that magnetic array becomes a fucking space-time portal. It's no longer a magnetic vortex. It literally will start phase shifting the pages, and that's what we're seeing here in that flicker. No, that's about it. This is somewhat random concept, on the fly, uncut, raw. A little bit of abstract research, abstract experimentation. Just stirring up the shit pot a little bit. Seeing kind of bizarre phenomenon we can catch, and boom, that flicker rate across 3 devices, 3 separate models, is what we're looking at. That's the phenomenon. That's what's, as I said, the current research project. Now, I couldn't believe that I began able to detect this shit at first. I'm actually working on a static charge array that will give me a little blip every time that flicker happens. So it should be at the same frequency. It's just a measuring device. It ain't a theory. But if it's gonna show up on a band, like a wave band like that, and you just saw that light up in the sky, and as you can see, I've been talking since way over there, and now this dog suddenly starts acting up. And that's how every dog has been, if you haven't noticed in this recording. That light even delayed. So, but anyway, there's a psychic group out here that keeps trying to silence me on this shit. I'm like, look, this is a documentary, and it's for science, motherfucker. A little bit of abstract, esoteric shit. You can take it or leave it. I'm investigating it. So on lucky number 13, I'm gonna call it wraps, so I don't fucking completely divulge every last little place I'm going. Gotta keep some anonymity, and that'll do. Have a good night, folks.